Hello everyone, my name is Victor Sampson, and today we will discuss initiatives and referendums in Arizona. In this video, I will cover what these terms mean, how they work, their similarities and differences, and the pros and cons associated with each process. But first things first, let us start with some basic definition. An initiative is a direct democracy where citizens can prepare new laws or amend existing ones by getting registered voters' signatures. When the number of valid signatures gathered, generally by a percentage of voters cast for governor, has been reached, the initiative goes on the ballot for all voters to decide its fate. As opposed to the referendum, citizens vote for either yay or nay on an issue that traditional legislative process like council meetings or state legislature settings have already enacted. Now that we have established what an initiative and referendums are, let us dive deep into how they come into existence. Initiative process. There is a prior requirement for a title and summary that the Secretary of State ordinarily submits before the initiatives can be considered. The proponents shall afterwards collect signatures, this ought to be equivalent to 10% of the total votes given to the governor in the last election. These are submitted and confirmed to be valid within 4 months. After sufficient and valid signatures are verified, the initiative is entered on the ballot as either a statutory or amendment proposition, depending on its subject matter. Referendum process. On the rare occasion when lawmakers enact legislations that calls for no immediate actions, like emergency laws, the citizens can petition for referenda in which voters would be asked whether or not they support this law. The requirement process is aligned with the ballot proposition. Requirements are often fixed. 6% of the gubernatorial candidate vote total during previous elections. Nevertheless, such rejection is no end of the road, as the rejected referendum may still trump legislative activity through public voting as being the case. Now, let us discuss how these processes differ from one another. Here are some similarities. Both involve collecting signatures from registered voters. They both allow citizens direct involvement in creating or rejecting laws. 3. Voters ultimately decide whether an initiative measure becomes law, constitutionally amended, or remains unchanged, based on their majority decision. Here are also some differences. Initiatives can create new laws, whereas referendums are meant to address those that already exist. Initiatives need more signatures than referendums, 10% versus 5% respectfully. And 3, referendums cannot be used for emergencies, legislations, while an initiative can. Now that we covered all the basics and differences between initiatives and references, let us examine their pros and cons. Initiative pros. Majority involvement through programs which allow citizens to exercise their power directly by giving citizens the ultimate power to decide on the things that matter to them. The role of politicians is also eliminated. Democrat process. Through this process, those minorities who do not have political power can still make their voices heard, which prevents situations where the required changes are hindered from being brought about. Progressive change towards social justice. Through time, many progressive movements have been able to record important milestones on their way towards success. Thanks to the submission of opinion polls, referendums pros, checks and balances on legislative power. Through the referendums, citizens can limit lawmakers' powers because they can accept their actions or decline them. Opportunity for public debate. A referendum provides a platform to discuss and debate pressing issues in the public space before being enforced, giving the community members an opportunity to voice their grievances, limits abuse of power. Through this referendum stage, the legislators cannot pass laws that are likely harmful or unpopular without prior electors' approval. Referendums cons. Minority representations neglected. Attention to the issues raised through referendums may be insufficient when other policies directions are taken at the national level. Delayed actions on important issues. Since referendums are only possible after a law has been passed, issues of urgency will be delayed until a referendum. As we can see, initiatives and referendums have advantages and limitations depending on how they are utilized. Now let us discuss these processes within the context of direct democracy outlined in Arizona Constitution. Direct democracy invites citizens to get involved in decision making at various levels, local, state, and federal, instead of completely relying elected officials. And examples like this show exactly how initiatives and referendums and are active in this way. In Arizona, Article 4 of the state constitution addresses the initiative and referendums as a tool for citizens to take part in the process of lawmaking directly. This proves our efforts to promote direct democracy in our state by providing platforms where ordinary citizens can exercise their vote to matters affecting them directly. Conclusively, lawmaking and conserve essential factors direct democracies that empower the lives of citizens in Arizona beyond casting their ballots every 2 years during the general elections. In addition, the benefits of direct democracy bring problems like different legal systems across borders and time-consuming participating campaigns. Still, they put power back where it was meant to be, in the hands of the people. Thank you for joining me today in this discussion about initiatives and referendums. I hope you now have a better understanding of these processes within our state government.